Emma, firstly, happy Christmas. First Christmas in a while for you where football hasn't been the priority in your life. That must be a strange one for you.
Yeah, it is, I suppose. Trying to cram in all the visits all at once. But actually this Christmas I've even less time here in Leixlip because I'm working. So long gone are the days of the 2 weeks holiday. I only have like 4 or 5 days at home. But yeah, it is a little bit different not going back into a pre-season in January. I can relax a little bit and enjoy my Christmas.
Is it a strange one for you to be sitting here in Leixlip discussing your career, which hasn't ended too long ago? Must be a certain symmetry that you've come back to where it all started.
Yeah, I mean, I've been coming back here for years. Any chance I got, I'd come back and visit my family. So it doesn't feel weird to come back, and it feels a bit weird to be sitting in front of this shrine. But yeah, no, but I mean, I love coming home, and it always reminds me of when we first started playing football, and I still hang around with the same girls and stuff, so we still talk about it, and you have the reminders at Leixlip amenities up the road and the GA pitches and every other sport I tried to squeeze in.
You were quite young when you first left Leixlip over to Denmark and Fortuna Hjørring. How did that come about?
I played in a tournament with the Republic of Ireland under-19s, and it was hosted by Fortuna Hjørring. It was like an international cup type of thing, and I don't know, I must have played well, and we did well. I think we won it actually, or got to the finals anyway.
You must have played well.
I'm not sure, I can't remember, so long ago. And I must have played well, and the club rang or emailed or did whatever they did back then to ask if I'd come over and play in a tournament again with them. So we went to Miami when I was still in school. I had to take a week off school, which I didn't mind at all. And we went to Miami and played something called the Orange Bowl. I must have did all right there too, because then they asked me to sign a professional contract. I lasted a year. I came home halfway through it. I thought, no, I'm homesick, I want to come home. Came home, and then they persuaded me to come back and finish the season, which I did. But that was enough for me. I got a taste for it and was a little bit homesick, so yeah, came home.
Your first Ireland call-up came at quite a young age too. I'm sure that's something you'll never forget.
I was in school and I used to go home for lunch because it was about a 5-minute walk from my house to school. So I went home for lunch and my mum told me there was a letter there for me, and at that age I never got letters from anyone. So there was this letter and I had an FAI stamp on it, so I was thinking, and I'd just been to trials, so I knew it was either going to be good news or bad news. And then I opened up the letter, I'd seen I'd been selected. It was the under-16s, the first ever under-16 international team. And you know, I was obviously absolutely buzzing, and I had to go back to school then, just absolutely buzzing and telling everyone. But yeah, it was class.
I'd say it was hard to concentrate then in school.
There was no concentration, very little of that anyway, to be honest with me. Always thinking about sports and football.
Well, the letters kept coming from the FAI through the years, and eventually a senior call-up and the chance to work with one of your idols, Sue Hayden.
Yeah, Sue Hayden. Yeah, I mean, myself and Ciara Grant got called up for the seniors when we were very young. I think I was about 15 at the time. And to be honest, I didn't want to go because I felt intimidated. I was nervous. You know, it's a difficult thing to do, to walk into a room full of senior international, you know, women footballers, and I was very, very nervous. And then, of course, with Sue Hayden, who's such a big character, and she really made me feel on edge at the start. But then, obviously, you know, I was a lot more comfortable with her and realised just how amazing she was, and an absolute fantastic mentor for me, and it's where I learned pretty much everything from. You know, as a 15-year-old coming from Leixlip, it was always going to be difficult. I was lucky because there was another couple of girls coming along with me, so we kind of stuck together and kind of huddled in the corner until we got comfortable with the girls. But they're fantastic, really kind of motherly, bringing us in, really looked after us, which is something you don't really see that much of anymore.
Mick Cook handed you your senior debut for Ireland, a 1-0 loss to Belgium. What do you remember that day and being told you were going to start for Ireland?
I remember, I can't say it on camera, but I was very, very nervous. It was kind of tainted for me, to be honest, because Sue didn't realise she was getting dropped. So it was difficult for me to find a good place or a happiness in that situation, because Sue was very upset she was dropped, and she probably shouldn't have been dropped. In fact, she shouldn't have been dropped. She was still a fantastic goalkeeper. But Mick thought it was my time and it was the right game for me to come in, so obviously I was absolutely, you know, buzzing to play and get my first call up, but at the same time I felt really disheartened for Sue, and it was a horrible time for her, so it was difficult. But I also knew that this was the start of my senior career, because as nervous as I was, I used that nerves to, it kind of developed into adrenaline as soon as you stepped onto the pitch, and if I can handle those situations, I could handle any situation.
Well, you held on to that number one spot for your country, and not too long later, Vic Akers and Arsenal came calling. How did that come about? Because there's a rumour that a certain one of your ex-teammates, Ciara Grant, had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a strange story as well, actually. My friend Ciara was over there, and Carol Conlon, and they were in London, and I went over to visit them for a weekend, and Vic asked if I would go training with them. They needed a goalkeeper, would I consider it? And I was like, I don't have any gear with me, I'm just here to have a good time. I don't really want to train. And I was like, all right, then I'll go and train with them. And it was on a Thursday night or something. And yeah, Vic liked what he saw and he wanted to sign me, and I was like, I've nothing with me. Like, they had a game on the Sunday. He wanted to try and get me in on the Sunday. And I was like, jeez, no, I have nothing with me. I have to go home, like, at least tell my parents I'm gonna go to London. So yeah, I went home for a couple of days, got all my stuff, went back to London, and that was it. 17 years later.
And a unique line to your CV, probably something not a lot of Arsenal footballers can say they've done. You worked in the club laundry in those early days to get yourself by.
Yeah, I mean, you had to work. It was semi-professional, and when I say semi-professional, they paid your expenses. So we trained twice a week, and you had to work the rest of the time. And Vic, our manager, or gaffer, was the kit man for the first team, still is, and he was basically ran the laundry. So that was his way of getting the women players in to earn some kind of money, and allowed them to train when they needed to. So it worked out quite well, and it wasn't so bad seeing the Freddie Lundbergs and Thierry Henrys walking around in their wife runs either. So no, it was fun. It was a good place to work, great place, great people, and yeah, it was a good time. It was a good experience for me.
Really successful time at Arsenal. Your first season there was a treble-winning season.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know we used to win every year. We used to win all the leagues, the cups, everything that's going. If we didn't, I actually remember the years that we didn't win more so than the years that we did. Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Probably the most special season in an Arsenal shirt was 2007. You won the Champions League.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that?
I'll never forget that. Like, that was just unbelievable. Something that, I don't know, was going to happen again. Like, we were the only team, the only country to win out of Sweden and Germany. So we were total underdogs. It's just, you know, it was a dream really, because we were never supposed to get that far in the tournament. And when we got to the final, it was just like media crazy. Just couldn't believe that a semi-professional team had got there with no big stars, so to speak. So, and we were playing against Umea, which had, you know, the world's best player in Marta, and, you know, plenty of high, top quality players. So we never thought we were going to win. We just kept saying to ourselves, you know, park the bus. If they can't score, at least keep the score low. Because we've been beaten by Sweden 4 or 5-0 with Ireland, and we were thinking we don't want that to happen. So just keep it low, and, you know, if we can nick a goal, you know, just give them a game or whatever. Yeah. And then when we were away first in Sweden, and we went 1-0 up, which was like, we didn't know what to do ourselves. It was a bit of a fluky goal. Alex Scott won't mind me saying it was definitely a cross, no matter what she tells you. She shanked it and went top corner, and we kept a clean sheet at the other end. So it was something to play for, which made it worse coming back to London, because we were like, Christ, the pressure's on us now, like, and they're going to come for us from minute one. So yeah, we literally parked the bus in London, and it worked.
I've heard you say recently that you need to fall back in love with the game. The issue earlier in the year, challenging the FAI through the PFAI, is that something that not necessarily forced you into retirement, but contributed to, as you say, falling out of love with the game?
Not falling out of love with the game, but it definitely persuaded me. Yeah, I had thought about staying on for another campaign. I still felt good, and I always said if I'm not enjoying it, or if I can't do it, or I feel like I'm not playing at the level I need to be at, I'd retire. And I didn't feel any of that, so I said, right, I'm going to still go, I'm going to squeeze the life out of it. But then that came around, and it came around quick, you know. We got involved with the PFAI, and you know, it was the time for them to do it, and they wanted us to back it, and you know, we needed to do it. We needed to do it then. So I thought to myself, right, I'm going to retire in the next 12 months anyway, and if I can leave with, you know, leaving some kind of structure or some kind of foundation that's going to be better, then I'll do it now instead of 8 months' time, instead of leaving with everything up in the air and it being a major issue for our girls, which it was. It was a huge thing.
As you said, the whole thing came about quite quickly, and it was geared towards setting the girls up for this World Cup qualifying campaign, which they're now in. But in another way, it had been bubbling for years, and really you were one of the first in 2014 to come out and say, you know, hang on a second, we're out of pocket playing for our country here. How was that met at the time within the FAI and also within the media?
Well, the FAI didn't appreciate me speaking publicly about it before I'd spoken to them, and I understand that I could have went to them, but girls had gone before and spoke about it, and I didn't set out initially to, you know, to cause this chaos for the FAI. I was doing an interview with Paul Rowan, and he asked me, so training, blah, 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 and I just said, well, some of the girls can't train as much because they can't afford to miss work, which is the truth. Everything I said was the truth, and I answered his questions, and he was shocked. He couldn't believe some of the stuff, and I was like, I don't find it that shocking. This is normal for us. We're so used to this, and it's not a problem really. And then I was like, actually, it is kind of a problem. You know, girl, we can't commit to it, and other countries around the world are you know, backing their women's team, and I think maybe, yeah, we should be supported a little bit more. That caused a bit of a problem with me and the FAI. So yeah, it was all patched up after that.
But you never got what you wanted back in 2014. It took another 3 years, and it took the whole squad to make people listen, really.
Yeah, I mean, after that, it was very difficult at that stage. It was the first time that it was brought to light, and the girls were very afraid to talk about it, and it was quite intimidating for them. And you know, they were afraid that if they spoke up in interviews that their position would be jeopardised, and you know, it probably would have been, so they were right.
Do you see that as part of your legacy with Ireland? Obviously with Arsenal there's plenty of years of success and trophies. With Ireland, we never quite got there in qualifying for a major tournament. But on the one hand, is it almost more important and more of a legacy that we have things set up for younger girls coming through now?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd have asked me at the time, I would have preferred to qualify for a tournament. But now looking back, yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge thing we've done for women's football. The whole team, all the girls that made a stance, and the PFAI who've helped us through it. And yeah, I think looking back now, it's definitely something I can say has been my biggest triumph for Ireland anyway. And hopefully they'll continue, and I think it's already working. The girls are doing amazing. They're looking to qualify. They haven't conceded a goal. And they're able to train more, and you know, the FAI are providing more training sessions and allowing them to you know, they're providing them with funding so they can miss work, because before girls couldn't train, they couldn't turn up for camps, they couldn't play games, they had to work, which was crazy at that level. It just can't be done.
Let's talk about some of your good times in an Ireland jersey. I'm sure there are plenty of games you can remember for various reasons. Do any in particular stand out? What's been your best performance in an Ireland jersey?
God, I don't know, because my best performances would mean a loss because I've been busy, so it's difficult. I know I played well against Germany when they beat us 1-0. That's probably
the away game.
Yeah, that's probably the game that sticks out most. But would it be nice to get a draw or a win, so I can be like really happy about it. We lost, so it didn't really make a difference. But yeah, there's so many games I remember for different reasons. I always remember the bad ones though. They stick in my head the most, like the mistakes.
You were handed the captain's armband a few years ago. What did that mean to you?
For me, I was always that loud mouth on the pitch anyway, so there was no difference in me wearing the band, and I was a fiery player, so I'm not sure. I was like, what does this mean? I can't be fiery, and I'd be getting yellow cards and very close to getting sent off most of the time, so now I have to try and control that because, and you know, I used to get told that Emma, you're the captain, set the example, and I'd be like, okay. So yeah, I kind of had to change my game a little bit because of that as well. Probably not for the best, to be honest, but I loved leading the team out.
We've a new captain now, Katie McCabe, quite young by the standard of international captains. Chatting to her a couple of weeks ago, she said you're always on the phone, you're always giving her advice. You haven't quite put down that captain's armband yet.
No, I mean, I'm so happy it's Katie. Katie's a great girl, absolutely class player. Like, she's up there with the best. She just needs that break. Very young. She probably has to adapt to that captaincy role as well. But she's she's innocent, you know, which is a really nice trait about her. But she's going to learn quick that how you balance being a player, being a friend and a captain is quite difficult to do. And I might give her a few little tips on how to do that, but nothing much. Everyone's different, how they captain a team, and she's going to be completely different than me. And probably better, to be quite honest. But yeah, she's going to be a great captain.
You played a handful of games under new manager Colin Bell. Having played the majority of your Ireland career under Sue Ronan, what did you notice that maybe he did differently? What did he bring to the table?
Well, experience and that winning mentality, definitely. I mean, he's a hugely successful manager, and we knew that coming in, so straight away he brought this aura of, you know, I'm a winner and do it my way and you'll win, basically. So when he came in, he's very authoritative, and, you know, he has his system, and he's very, very, that's the way we're going to play. And we needed that. We needed that way because we were on the pitch, we were a little bit confused in what we were doing, and it might have to come from me, which took away from my game because I was focused on telling everyone else what to do, and I needed to focus on my game. So with Colin coming in, he did that. He gave everyone their jobs, their roles on the pitch, and throughout the whole game, he'd be reminding them. So that was good. It was good for me. It was good for the senior players because it was a release. You know, we didn't feel that pressure on us to do that. And he's continued to do that. I mean, as I said, they haven't conceded. They're doing really well, and probably the best we've ever done. So that type of style of manager is really helping the girls, and they're really responding to it really well.
Are you frustrated that you didn't get a good shot playing under him and maybe another campaign?
Yeah, I think I would have become a better goalkeeper under Colin through his management style. Not as him coaching me, but definitely coaching the girls. That would allow me to do my job, and yeah, would have respected that style of coaching, definitely. And you know, I'm always interested to see how I do with different styles of managers or coaches, and I always respond to the coaching style no matter what, because I can adapt to that too. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see, but you know, at 38, it was time to go, you know. I wasn't going to do a Buffon.
Your last game for Ireland, I think the 0-0 draw against Iceland. Did you know that was going to be your last game?
Well, it's funny because the girls will tell you on the team, I used to say, right girls, this is my last game. This is probably my last game.
Use that as a motivating factor.
And at the end they'd be like, shut up, no it's not, stop. I'd be like, okay, maybe next game. But I was saying it for at least 5-6 months, and certainly back in the Cyprus Cup in March, okay, this is my last Cyprus Cup, girls, let's enjoy it. So I was constantly like trying to convince myself that it was my last game. But I wasn't sure, because otherwise I would have been telling my parents, my family, come on, this is my last game, everyone come to this game. Well, actually, I think I did say that, and still no one turned up. But I just figured every game could be my last game, so I was always ready for that, always ready for it.
What led to your retirement exactly? We talk about leaving Arsenal, and you gave it a go at Brighton, it didn't quite work out. You talk about the difficulties with Ireland earlier in the year. Was there a moment where you just thought, this isn't for me, or was it kind of a gradual feeling and a gradual falling out of love with football, as you said?
Well, I always swore to myself, if I wasn't training well, or people say your legs go or you just can't do it anymore, that wasn't happening to me. I still felt really good. I actually felt I was getting better at training and stuff. And then Arsenal had spoke to me, I think in September. I was like, what are you doing next season? I was like, I'd like to play one more year. And they were like, great, well, another year, brilliant. And then come November, when they were deciding on contracts, they were like, look, we're not giving you another contract. And I was like, oh, okay, I thought we were going to do another year. And they were like, no, it's not going to happen. I was like, oh, okay, that's football, that's what happens. And I was like, well, I don't feel ready to retire. I want to play. I'd like to play at the top again. And then I had Christmas to think about, and I was like, do you know what? I think I'm just going to retire. I think it's time. It's time to go. Not with my heart, but with my head. And then I got a call from Brighton. I was like, look, I'll go down and meet you. I'll speak to you, but I'm not sure what I'm doing. Grand. Went down there, blown away by the club. The people were lovely. They had offered to develop my career outside of football through coaching or do courses, whatever I wanted to do, which was one of my main focuses. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a go. I was still living in St. Albans. I'm going to travel. And I was like, but I'm working Tuesdays. And, everything was like, and they were like, look, we'll accommodate you, whatever you need to do. So I was like, okay, this is going to work. But then I couldn't commit to the club, which was really weird for me. Turning up once a week or twice a week. I felt bad for the girls, and I was playing on the Sundays. And it just was, I was in a very strange situation, because I knew, as I would, the girls kind of maybe begrudged me a little bit. Well, I was paranoid about it, because I feel like if you're not 100% committed, you shouldn't be playing. And then with that whole drama with the FAI and the whole stance and trying to get equality, it was a very, very traumatic time for me. I felt a lot of pressure, and the build up to it as well, which people don't realise, the phone calls and the pressure I felt taken on my shoulders because of the young players. Like, there was a lot of pressure on them, and I wanted it all on me, but they were getting pressure from elsewhere. It was a very difficult time. So when that was all over, I just literally went into a cave, switched off my phone. No one could contact me. That was it. And I just needed the break. And now I'm starting to come round. I'm replying to text messages. That's why I'm here. And I'm going to start coaching again. I have a camp I'm doing in Barcelona. I'm working with Barcelona. I'm going to start coaching again at the end of December, and then slowly but surely get back into it.
I've heard you say before it's always been a dream of yours to have a goalkeeping camp. Is that something that's still on the horizon for you in the future?
I still want to do that, but not just to have a camp. I want to develop goalkeeping in general in Ireland, because we're looking abroad for our goalkeepers. We're looking at England, we're looking at America. That should never ever happen in this country. Our sports dictate us to be goalkeepers. We've Gaelic, even hurling, the ball-to-hand, eye coordination. Everyone should be goalkeepers. We should have the best goalkeepers, and we used to. We used to have the best goalkeepers in the world, and we shouldn't lose that. So we need to get those SCA players and whatever other sports are playing,
edge them towards
goalkeeping. And to do that, you need to get them interested, have the role models, and make goalkeeping, interesting. And there's lots of ways to do that. And I'd like to try and, obviously through camps and through coaching, but I'd like to try and get young girls and boys enthusiastic into, playing in goals and want to play in goals.
I get the feeling you're not done with football just yet. Thank you so much for your time, Emma, and enjoy your first Christmas where you don't have to be worrying about what you're going to eat and worrying about training the next day. Thanks again.
Cheers, Anne-Marie. Thank you.